a locked door, a muffled scream, a lie too perfect to question. They underestimated the maid, but she was watching everything. He wore a suit, he smiled kindly, and he locked his wife in the attic. They told her she was crazy, so she made them wish it was true. What if the person you're trying to save is the one who needs saving from you? Asterisk, she took the job to escape her past, but she stepped into someone else's nightmare. He said his wife was insane. Then she found her locked in a padded room, from maid to monster. How far would you go to expose the truth? She was hired to clean the house, but she uncovered the family's darkest secrets. It wasn't the ghosts she had to fear. It was the living. Asterisk, she thought she was cleaning up their mess until she found herself trapped in it. The only rule, don't open the upstairs bedroom. So of course, she opened it. When you have nothing to lose, you'll do anything to survive even, if it means becoming the villain. Asterisk, Chapter 1. Millie Calloway sits in her broken-down car, staring at the job listing on her phone. She's desperatone moid, homeless, and recently released from prison. Every door she's knocked on has closed quickly when they found out about her criminal record. But this job seems different. With a room and meals included, sounds like a miracle. When she arrives at the Winchester home, it's more luxurious than she imagined. It's a grand estate with a perfectly manicured lawn, and everything screams wealth. Nina Winchester, the lady of the house, greets her at the door. Nina is elegant, but strangely distracted. She's barefoot, smiling too widely, and seems frazzled. Millie is invited inside for the interview. Though it feels more like a casual chat, Nina seems impressed by Millie's honesty about her past. Though she glosses over it quickly, before she knows it, Millie is offered the job on the spot. She can't believe her luck. It's all happening too easily, almost too perfectly. But she doesn't ask questions. She needs this job badly. Chapter 2. Nina gives Millie a tour of the house. The kitchen gleams with stainless steel, and the living room is straight out of a design magazine. Millie meets Cecilia, Nina's young daughter, who is oddly silent and avoids eye contact. There's something distant about her, as if she's emotionally withdrawn or maybe afraid. Millie feels a pull to protect her. Andrew Winchester arrives, home tall, clean-cut and handsome, wearing a tailored suit and a composed smile. He greets Millie with politeness and a handshake. There's a quiet tension between him and Nina that Millie can't quite place, but she lets it go. Nina shows Millie to her room up in the attic. It's a small, cold space with barely enough room for a bed. The walls are bare, and the only window is tiny and high up. Most unsettling is the lock on the outside of the door. Room, but Millie feels uneasy. Still, she forces a smile. She tells herself not to be ungrateful. Chapter 3. The job begins. Millie cleans, cooks, does laundry, organizes closets, and makes Cecilia's school lunches. It's exhausting, but she works hard, wanting to prove herself. At first, Nina is warm and cheerful, praising Millie's cooking and chatting as if they're girlfriends. But her mood quickly changes. Of misplacing things, burning dinner, or not folding clothes properly, even when Millie is certain she hasn't done anything wrong. It's confusing and emotionally jarring. Millie tries to stay calm. She reminds herself that she's lucky to be there. But the way Nina swings from kindness to cruelty is unnerving. Cecilia, meanwhile, continues to be withdrawn. She rarely speaks. When she does, it's barely above a whisper. She flinches when her parents raise their voices. Chapter 4. One evening, Millie overhears Nina and Andrew arguing behind closed doors. The conversation is muffled, but Nina's tone is frantic and Andrew's is icy. She hears glass break and then silence. Millie tiptoes back to her attic room. She starts to feel nervous about staying in the house. She tries to reassure herself. Fridge. People argue too. Right. But something about Andrew's calm, authoritative demeanor and Nina's erratic behavior doesn't sit right. Later that night, Nina knocks on Millie's door, surprisingly calm. She smiles, tells her to rest, and leaves. A tray of cookies as an apology for earlier. Millie thanks her, closes the door, and locks it from the inside. Chapter 5. Millie wakes up to screaming. She rushes downstairs to find Celia sobbing and Nina shouting that her daughter's favorite dress is missing. Situation, but Nina blames her. Andrew walks in and quickly restores order, speaking gently to Cecilia and telling Nina to take a walk, once alone. Andrew apologizes to Millie for his wife's behavior. He explains that Nina suffers from mood disorders and is under a lot of stress. He gently touches Millie's shoulder and says he hopes she doesn't feel uncomfortable in the home. Millie feels conflicted. Andrew seems so kind and reasonable. And yet, the atmosphere in the house feels increasingly oppressive. The unpredictability of Nina's moods is starting to wear her down. She finds herself tiptoeing through her day, trying to avoid any reaction that might set Nina off. But then, later that night, as Millie walks by Nina's bathroom door, she sees something that chills her to the bone. Bruises on Nina's arms, stark against her pale skin. Nina quickly closes the door. Millie wonders, what if Nina isn't the unstable one? What if she's being abused? Asterisk. Chapter 6. Millie becomes increasingly concerned for Cecilia, who barely speaks and never smiles. The child clings to her dolls and often hides in corners. One afternoon, when Millie is folding laundry, Cecilia walks into the room and stands silently. Behind her, startled, Millie gently asks if she wants to help, but Cecilia shakes her head and walks away. Later that day, Millie watches as Nina scolds Cecilia harshly for spilling juice. Millie flinches. The punishment seems disproportionate. Nina screams until Cecilia bursts into tears and runs to her room. Millie wants to step in, but Andrew appears at the doorway, watching coldly, and says nothing. Millie comforts Cecilia that night while reading her a bedtime story. Cecilia still won't talk, but rests her head on Millie's shoulder. A connection is forming. Chapter 7. The next morning. Nina hands Millie a list of tasks that seem almost impossible. Polish all the silverware. Wash every window inside and out. Reorganize the pantry. Millie works from dawn until nightfall, only to find Nina criticizing the job as inadequate. Millie begins writing her thoughts in a hidden journal. She's documenting the strange behavior, the inconsistencies, and her own rising sense of unease. In her heart, she knows something's very wrong with the house, but she doesn't yet know what. That night, Nina corners Millie in the kitchen and warns her to stay away from Andrew. The comment feels sudden and unjustified. She tries to brush it off as another paranoid outburst. But it plants a seed of fear. Chapter 8. The mood in the house darkens. Nina becomes increasingly volatile, switching from friendly to vicious without warning. She begins leaving messes around the house and blaming Millie for them. Andrew, by contrast, is charming and attentive. Millie starts to feel that Nina is trying to push her out, making her feel small, unwanted, and incompetent. But every time Millie thinks of quitting, she looks at Cecilia and stays. One evening, Andrew finds Millie crying in the laundry room. He comforts her and says she's doing a great job. He offers to speak to Nina, but advises her to be patient. His wife has good days and bad days. There's something gentle in his voice, and when he smiles, Millie feels drawn to him. Chapter 9. Millie starts fantasizing about Andrew. She knows it's wrong. He's married. She's the help, and the whole thing reeks of danger. But she can't help it. The house has become a place where nothing feels normal. And Andrew is the only person who treats her like she matters. When she's in the kitchen cleaning up, Andrew joins her. They talk for a long time about books, about Millie's past, about his frustrations with Nina. Then, unexpectedly, he leans in and kisses her. Millie freezes, then kisses him back. Afterward, she's filled with guilt and confusion. What just happened? Was it real affection or something far more manipulative. Chapter 1. Oh, the next day, Nina is calmer. She even thanks Millie for her hard work. The sudden change unsettles Millie, especially after what happened with Andrew. She finds herself checking the attic door at night, locking it from the inside. Now, as she cleans Nina's room, Millie notices something strange. Nina's pills are scattered in the bathroom drawer, and a few bottles are unmarked. Millie doesn't know what they are, but the lack of labels makes her suspicious. Could Nina be refusing to take prescribed medication, or is someone else giving her unmarked ones? Cecilia enters the room silently. Millie tries to ask her questions, but the girl just takes Millie's hand and points toward Nina's closet. Inside, Millie finds a photo album hidden beneath a pile of shoes. She flips it open. Pictures of the Winchester family over the years. Happy smiles, normal moments. But then, as the pages turn, things become disturbing. In one picture, there's another woman with Andrew Young, beautiful, dressed in a maid's uniform. She's not in any other photos. Millie's heart pounds. Who was she? When she asks Nina about the woman, Nina shrugs. That was Wendy, the last housemaid. She left abruptly. Millie doesn't sleep that night. Asterisk, sometimes the real monster isn't the one who looks unstable. It's the one who hides behind control, charm, and power.